I don't want to get on your bad side because I know I'm going to get yelled at and it's over. Sometimes the best push is a hug.
Why did you do that? Hi,
Happy Monday. How we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. So Christina's part of Movement Makers, and as part of
Yes.
that, we're here doing an IG Live. So how can I help? What do you got?
Yes. So I definitely didn't see that I was supposed to write things until last night. So I did last night, but I have it right here. So it's all good. So it's like 4 questions that I had. We may not get to them, but that's okay.
Let's go.
But one was identifying my one word, right?
Okay.
2 was how I can better serve and make a greater impact through group coaching and courses. Like what could be some of the things that I offer. And 3 was what can I develop and use as a lead magnet. And then 4 is how can I serve people effectively while still going through my process and developing things as I go. So it may be, would you want me to read what I was sending to you?
No, that's okay. Just out of those 4, what do you feel called to the most that you want to start with?
More so my one word. I don't it's I'm in my head a lot.
Okay.
And yeah, I
Welcome to the
think
club. Okay.
yeah. I'm very analytical and I overthink a lot of times. So I think that is probably where I might know it, but I'm struggling with that. And I want clarity to be able to better serve, I guess, my audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
The
yeah,
challenge is this is not a thinking exercise; it's a feeling exercise.
yeah, that's the problem.
That's the problem. I got you, but we'll work through. Okay, what are some that have come up for you?
Okay, so faith has come up,
Okay.
mainly because that's a component of trusting and believing. Um, but action is a big part of it as well.
Okay.
And then just here lately, it's been this hope word that has really come up a lot. And I'm like, oh, that is a part too.
Okay.
So the, I'm, it's those, it's those,
So
it's no
faith,
others.
action, and hope.
Yes.
It's interesting because those are all pretty, especially faith and hope. They're pretty related. Could you see something sitting on top of those 3? Like these are the kids of the mother word on top.
I thought about that and I was saying, well, I know because you talked about your credo. So I was like, okay, well, could it be where hope is up here and then faith? And I was like, no, 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 no. Well, what about faith? And then what about trust and belief and then action up under there? And I was like, yeah, but then it leaves out hope. But then I don't know. And there I went. And then I went and I shut it down. I was like, I'm doing too much.
That's okay. Listen, you have the puzzle pieces. Now it's
Okay.
just putting them in the right order. So
Yeah.
tell me about who one of your favorite mentors or teachers were growing up.
Okay, so I didn't have the teacher, but I did have a track coach that I really liked him because it was where one, he pushed me. So that was one of the things. And then 2, he believed in me. So it was like even when I thought that I couldn't do stuff, he was like, "No, you can," and he pushed me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, it was because a lot of times he would be out there running with me. So when I was at the point where I would want to give up, he'd be like, "All right, we got one more and I'm going to do it with you and you got to beat me." So and that made it fun for me to do the work, and it made me believe that I could do it, and that not only that I could do it, I had somebody that was with me.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. What was your coach's name?
Coach Bridges.
Bridges?
Yes.
Bridges. Coach
Yeah.
Bridges. I like Coach Bridges already. Okay. Who else? Like somebody else has had an impact or what you loved about your parents
So my parents, that was one thing that I wrote down too, was that one thing that really sticks out is that my father would always tell me it's only like it's pretty much up to me. So nobody else can steal my dream. Nobody else can determine anything but me. So he would always say, "Well, no one can steal your dream but you." So that really put into the action part of just like, okay, it's up to me. Um, if I want to do these things, it's possible, but I've got to be able to put in the work, and I've got to believe in doing it and actually it happening.
How about a female role model?
Why did you do that? I don't have one.
Okay, cool. How about
Yeah.
somebody who like may not have been in your life, but you've looked up to from afar?
Beyonce, right?
Okay.
Not because of all her glory and what she does, but it's because of her work, her work ethic. I admire that. With Oprah, she was one on my list that is her mentality.
Okay.
And how she believes, her resilience, and her belief.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those were the two. I know I'm missing one, but I can't think about the I don't know about the third. But those were the two that stuck out to me.
Anybody in athletics like Serena Williams or not a sports fan?
No, not really. But I do now. There are people. So it's just a general thing. Because when it comes to athletics, and when it comes to anything, really, when it comes to talent, when it comes to, I mean, you can be singing, you can be acting, I always admire the people who have identified their gift and are operating in that gift. Because you can tell it's a difference. So when people have identified that thing and they've honed in on it and they've become the best that they can be. Like those are the people that I look up to. So it's multiple people. It's just that thing. When somebody has that, I always admire that. I'm like, wow, yeah, that's it.
Have you coached or mentored any young person?
Yes.
What would they say about you?
I've been told a lot.
Just to like picture them, and we don't need to know the circumstances, but just what would they if they were here and they were talking about you, they're gonna make you cry and say all these nice things about you and maybe make me cry too. What would they say about Christina?
Is that I'm passionate. Is that I push them to do great things. Is that I expect greatness from them. Is that I'm there for them. I'm supportive, but I don't play at all. And yeah, I think that those are the things, is that I motivate them. And I it's not just a motivation, because that's what I've been told. It's not like I'm pumped up and I'm ready to go. It's like I feel an obligation to do the things that I need to do to get to the highest point that I can possibly get to be the best. And I guess that's why I admire the people who have mastered that, and it's like identify their gift and as being everything that God has called them to be.
You feel an obligation for you to get there, or you feel an obligation to serve the people that you're mentoring for them to get there?
Both. Oh, I have a strong obligation to be everything that God has called me to be.
Okay, so in that context, you meant like for them, like if they're around you feel an obligation to help them rise up. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what I feel like my obligation is to help other people. Yeah.
When you say there for them, you're there for them, what does that mean?
So I know that this whole process of from where you are now to where you want to be and where God has called you to be is a process. and it's a journey, and it's a lot of ups and downs. So I make that clear, and I'm there in the fact of I am very transparent. I'm very, I've learned to be vulnerable and to share experiences and create that safe space for them where we know this is going to come up, but that's okay. But we're going to tackle it anyway. We're going to tackle it and we're going to get through it. And that's what we're going to do. And you're going to be bombed doing it. And so that's how they feel. So it's okay for them to open up. It's okay for them to, when things are down, it's okay. Because I know it's going to be up.
This is very interesting to me. Here's the vibe that I'm getting.
Okay.
You're like an awesome mix of, like, you're not going to take excuses.
No.
From yourself or from anybody else. It's like, yeah, but I'm tired today, or but I went to this school, or because my parents, like, there's that side of you that will be like, no excuses. Get up, do the work. I'm doing it myself, and I expect you, like, hanging around you will raise people's standards for themselves and what they feel that they can accomplish, right?
Yeah.
Just by you being in their environment, and that's a very kind of hard line approach, which I buy into. But there's also this soft side of you that is compassionate and caring, and like, you smile,
Yeah.
which like almost doesn't fit the role models that you pulled out. And so it's like, how do you balance being the empathetic person who can understand the situation, but then not tolerate that as being an excuse? Because you're not all push. You'll push when needed, but you'll also give a hug when needed too.
Right. And that's one of the struggles that I've had personally. I guess because you said the role models that I have are the push, but I have learned that doesn't work for me. And I guess because you said there's two sides, but I've honored more of the push side. And I've had burnouts and times where it's just been bad, and just managing both of those sides. It's like, it's been difficult. So I'm glad you highlighted that. So now in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's why. Why.
And you don't want to lose that side of you, and you won't.
No.
You'll be 95 and still be like, okay, what's next? What are we creating? Let's go, guys.
That's what I would be doing.
I know, which is great. It's great. But you don't have to work on that because you've already embraced it. It's just, that's 85% of the answer.
Okay.
You don't need to go the other way. It's not like you're going to spend 85% of your time just hugging people and coddling them and letting them off the hook for all their excuses and all that stuff. It's like, you'll never go that far. But that's the story. That becomes the hesitancy. Is like, oh, if I start leaning into the softer side, then I'm going to let people off the hook for their excuses and their reasons, and I'm going to get too soft, and then I'll be soft on myself and soft on them. Like, you won't. But there are moments when people actually need a hug more than they need a push, and the hug enables the push,
right?
Because you can push too far on yourself and on others, right?
Yeah.
And so what I loved about Coach Bridges was that, hey, I'll do it with you. I'll run that last set with you. It's like, okay, you're done. I'll get in there. I'll do it. We'll do it together. When you're talking about, like, being there for them and creating a safe space and being vulnerable and letting them open up, these are soft skills. These are not like David Goggins isn't talking about creating safe spaces for people for them to be vulnerable and open up, right? But he's 100% push. He's 100%, but it's extreme and works for him and work for some people, but you admire that about someone like him, but you don't want to be all the way him, because there's that extra side that is really valuable. So I think this is where we get into the challenge of figuring out the one word, because anything related to action, you're going to be all about. But like hope, it's kind of a soft word.
Yeah.
But it's good. Like, it's in you. something like that is in you. That is in you, but it when you're telling somebody to have hope, you can easily judge yourself to say like, oh, but that's so soft.
That's not,
but just go do the work. But sometimes hope is the right message. Like 15% of the time, 10% of the time, 5% of the time, that's actually what they need. They need to take the day off training to rest, to have more self-love, to like the soft side, the hug is important sometimes, just not most of the time.
Exactly.
For you, right?
Right.
So it's like the fear of going to the soft side becomes that they never get back up and do the work, and you're enabling, weak behavior or whatever we want to call it.
Right.
And I'm with you. I think self-love comes from doing difficult things. It's like showing that you are capable of doing a thing you didn't think you were capable of doing it. That's where your self-love comes from.
Yeah.
But it's just recognizing that sometimes the best push is a hug, to say like, hey, I got you.
Yeah.
We'll get through this.
Yeah.
Because when people are so low on themselves, they can't listen to the hard push.
Exactly.
They need to be brought to like ground level, and then you can push them hard. But if they're already in a giant hole and they're just telling themselves that they suck, you yelling at them to say, go harder.
It's not going to do anything.
You're not going to resonate at all with them. Right. So it's something I struggle with a lot too, because I'm in your camp. It's like the difference between where you are now, where you want to be, is your actions.
Yeah.
Get up and go do the work, right?
Yeah.
100%. But a lot of people can't hear that message yet. And so I struggle a lot with fault versus responsibility. When people say, well, it's not my fault. It's not my fault that I'm here. It's not my fault that I was born this way and my parents are like this, and it's not my fault. It's like, okay, but it's your responsibility to fix it.
Yeah.
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 Like you didn't choose this life. It was given to you at some point, but now it's your responsibility to not still be stuck here in a year or in 10 years, whatever, right?
Yes.
I think your superpower is actually leaning in more on the hope side of things. Not that hope is the one word, but it's easy to push yourself too far, and it's easy to push others too far, to the point where it does become too much, and they need that 15% hug.
Okay.
And like not being people, if you're coaching people can often look at you and say, well, look at how perfect she is. Like she just never lets up, and she just always has the answer, and she always believes in herself, and she's always pushing. You become this perfect role model that then they feel like they can't measure up.
Right.
Because you're just too perfect. It's like, no. Like you have days when you're down, and you have days when you've burnt out.
Oh yeah.
It's not every day, right?
Yeah.
It's like, but there are some days when you have to ease off the gas and just have a weekend to break.
Yeah.
And like, there's nothing wrong with that. But most weekends she's off crushing it, doing her thing, because we're not staying in that lane for very long.
No, we can't. We can't.
So I like the idea of hope, and even faith to a certain extent. I mean, it has the mixed meaning of taking the religious angle, but also just faith that, hey, if I keep doing this, it will work out.
Yeah.
Action is definitely a big underpinning. I think there's something on top. Like I think action and hope are the two words that make you special. Like if you're only hope, then all you're doing is hugging people, and you're just telling them they're going to be great, and you're just but that's not it. That doesn't save them. It just makes you're just giving them candy, but it doesn't actually get them, where they need to go. But if you're just 100% action, that's not the answer either. So I love action and hope being underneath the thing. So between like faith, trust, believe, which one is the parent? So like faith equals trust, action, hope, or trust equals faith, action, hope, or believe equals faith, action, hope.
I guess because you're making that definition, I would be making that definition for myself, right? Because I know that faith is a big thing, because it encompasses all that for me. But I don't know. Would that just be for me or for other people to know that?
It's always both. Like, it's like what
Oh.
all of this is what you still need more of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You still need more hope for yourself. You still need more action for yourself. You still need more faith for yourself. Like, I still need more belief for myself. Like, when people look at you, say, but you're doing so much action. Yeah, but there's more levels to this.
Yeah.
There's still more levels to this. This is not, Christina's not done with her action. You know,
Right.
there's more mountains to climb. But maybe there's something, you use word like expect greatness. Like, you expect greatness from yourself and from others. Yes. So what I would do is I can't tell you what it is, right? I mean, this has to be something that you feel more and more, right? But if you had something like greatness at the top, and then under that is faith, action, hope.
Yes. I actually do like that. Because I'm like, I like the word faith, but it's like, it's not all encompassing to me. Hope isn't all encompassing to me. Action is definitely not all encompassing to me, even though it's a big part. But what I'm expecting from people and from myself is greatness, because God did create us to be great. There's nothing in any of us that is lackluster. We lack nothing. So we have everything that we need that is inside of us already. We don't need to look externally, but we have to do the work. It's not like we can just sit down and just say, well, at some point I have faith that I'm gonna be great. Mm-hmm. That doesn't work. So, but that greatness is definitely my standard. That is what I expect. I expect from myself and I expect from others. So, I didn't think about that.
Well, and don't think about that. Feel about that. This is the hard.
I know. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
But I understand what you're saying. I would sit on greatness for the next couple of days, and it's either going to feel more and more right, like this is it, like this. Wow, this really is it, or it's going to feel more and more wrong. In which case, it's something you don't care about greatness. It's just not the thing. Mm-hmm. I would play with what is that word, because I think you've got the trio of really powerful words with faith, action, and hope, and that really defines you, and like a special sauce of what makes you so amazing. And I definitely think to your later questions of like actually getting into the pit and doing it with them. Yeah. Is something that you could play off of a lot. That, hey, I'm going to challenge you to do this 30-day challenge of whatever it is, but I'm going to do it with you, and I'll be the first one in. Yeah. Like there's that vibe with you, which I love. Yes. And that people will they'll resonate with, because that's how you actually get hope. Is like, here's somebody who's doing it with me, not just telling me what to do and judging me for sucking. It's like, hey, no, I'm going to do it. And let's that teamwork is great compared to the just push, go, do better, Yes. People need it. Yeah, so that's what I play with. Like faith, action, hope, I think are perfect for you. If it's greatness on top or something else. Yeah. But it needs to be aspirational. Like, when do you achieve greatness? You don't. On the one hand, you're already great. And it's like there's still 1,000 more levels of greatness that we're going for. Yeah. And you're never done being great. And the people who you help and connect with you are never done. I'm never done being great. It's like that constant drive forward to achieve the next level of greatness, while also 15% of the time understanding that you are great already. Yes. Yes. And we need that reminder. I like that. I use an analogy of swimming. It's like I never want to hit the island. If you're swimming in an ocean, you never want to hit the island. Like, you want to swim forever. Like, when you hit the island, you're done. You love the process and you love the climb so much. You're swimming forever. But every now and then you feel like where you're going is just so far away that you have to look back to see how far you swum. Yeah. And say, wow, I came that far. Like, compared to how I used, can you believe that? Every now and then you need that little self pat in the back to look back at the island that you came from,
Yeah.
but then gives you the energy to just keep on swimming because you're not done and you're not going back to that island.
Right.
And there's nowhere we're treading water just staying here. We're going to go forward. But sometimes we need to look back and see how far we've come to hit our next level of greatness.
That's what I'm working on. And that's what I mean in knowing that action is not all action. But I've been through accomplishment after accomplishment. I'm just like, okay, great. Okay, great. All right, on to the next one. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's probably worth finding some other badass women role models to look at their story and their content, and like how do you balance all of that, because there is definitely, like, I think the hardcore stuff you got down, and that's what a lot of people need the help on. For you, it's the opposite. It's like, okay, how do I balance a little bit more self-compassion sometimes? Like, how do badass women do it? I think of Lisa Bilyeu, people who I know personally. How do you balance that? Because that could help make the picture, make it more of that, like make it a more well-rounded wheel, so that you've got multiple things that you can help people with, instead of just having, like, I'm a baseball fan, so pitchers have different pitches. And did you ever watch any baseball games growing up? Or no? Okay, so it's like, this is a fastball. You don't have to know that much, but it's like you got a really mean fastball. Like, you can strike people out with a fastball. It's like you're going to get paid tons of money to come in and crush them with the fastball. But you have one pitch, and if you could develop a curveball or a slider, like if you could develop another pitch, it's going to allow you to be even more effective.
Okay.
In your own life as well as other people's. Like, the thing that you will need the most help with personally is the hope and the faith, not the action.
Right. I know.
But it's great. That's great awareness, right? That's great awareness.
Yeah.
And it came like already as I was, it just radiates from you, because you have such a beautiful smile and great energy. Like, you're not, but you can turn it up when you want. Like, that's not, I don't want to get on your bad side, because I know I'm going to get yelled at and it's over. But like the fun, you're kind, it's a different kind of energy that I think if like tapping into that will just explode your everything forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what. Okay. And that's what I've been getting. And I've gotten to the point now where I hear stuff that'll be like, well, you've got to grind, you got to sacrifice. And that stuff, I'm getting more in tune with how I feel. And it just rubs me wrong now. And I'm like, oh, no, that doesn't agree. That's not, I don't need to be taking that in right now. But I see why, because I've been on the side of action for so long, of just like pushing and pushing and pushing. And it's to loosen it up a little bit.
You won't lose it. That's so in you. You won't lose it. Like, as soon as you go a little too soft, you're going to have Coach Bridges and your dad, even in your head, just kind of yelling at you. He's like, come on, what are you doing? Where are you taking this? Action. Where's the work happening, right?
Yeah.
But a little bit of, whether it's Maya Angelou or Louise Hay, or like just bringing out the softer side. You look at Maya Angelou, like, you don't mess with Maya Angelou.
I know you don't.
You don't. It's like what she did and what she stood for, and you just like, don't go messing with.
But
I wouldn't want to see Maya on a bad day, or getting her way on something. But the way that she had approached it with class, and all of her messaging, very heavy, talking about feeling.
I know
that I think like that you need 15% Maya Angelou, and that unlocks a whole new world for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right. I didn't expect this.
I didn't either. I didn't even know what we were talking about. This is great. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Yes.
Well, time to get to work. Let action.
I know. Now we got to follow through. So I appreciate you.
Cool. I mean, from there, everything else flows. All your other questions.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's about if it's about greatness at the top, then your lead magnet and your content and everything else flows. So that's the most important one.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Let's go. Let's go. I want to see some action. Okay. Take care. Bye, Christina.
Bye-bye.
If you want to see another awesome one-on-one I did with an entrepreneur just like you, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
I'm trying to help people get jobs.
It's not going to be something that has like a giant reach, but if 100 people see that video and it's the exact people that you need,
Right.
they're much more likely to